Good evening to you and welcome to Newsline Live. My guest this evening is the leader of Sri Lanka's opposition, Mr. Sajith Premadasa. Very good evening to you, Mr. Premadasa. Welcome to Newsline Live.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you. Now then, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has just told Bloomberg in the last hour or so that he doesn't want to be a failed president and he will continue to the end of his term and that he will not seek re-election. Not that anyone will vote for him, perhaps, but why do you think this is an important thing?
Well, his reign so far has been an abject failure. During his tenure, we have, as a country, gone through so many transformative changes which have impacted detrimentally on the people of our country. The chants, the expectations, the wishes of the vast majority of our people in our country is for him to leave office. So it is my request that he respect the wishes of the people and those who have struggled through the Aragale for democracy to be victorious. In the name of our motherland, I believe he should go.
Wouldn't it be more democratic if Parliament decided to have an election, although there are economic sort of challenges?
Certainly, I have always advocated the primacy of people's sovereignty, allowing the people to decide the destiny of the country and the motherland. So I am fully for it, and I'm waiting for the day that it takes place. But one needs to give careful consideration to the various issues that the people are facing. We have to be sensitive to the economic and social suffering and hardship that people are going through. But having said that, this problem will only be solved by a new administration appointed by the people, that is in government through the wishes of the people, and it also needs to have a decent interval of 5 years,
yes, but Mr.
to basically conduct government.
Yes, because it's, you know, we've only got like 27 minutes. So, but, you know, when they wanted elections the last time, even COVID-19 didn't stop them.
Exactly.
So now, when the Aragalis are making just as much impact as COVID-19 in our country, why can't he be forced? Is it a question of numbers in Parliament?
Well, what we have right now is what I would call warped and skewed representation. We have a president and a parliamentary composition that reflects the opinion of the people in 2019 and 2020. Whereas in 2022, right now, the wishes of the people are neither represented in the executive nor in the legislative majority. That's why I say it's a lopsided, warped, skewed situation, which has to be corrected through a fresh mandate.
Well, perhaps we should just leave the president to stew in a soup that is of his own making. Let's go to current affairs. Right now, gas, no petrol or no regular supply of petrol, diesel, kerosene, power cuts, medicine shortages, fertilizer shortages. What on earth is happening? What's your solution? If you were to somehow, depending on the dynamics of what happens, and if you were to have power given to you tomorrow morning, what's your plan?
Well, first and foremost, the most essential prerequisite for extricating our country out of this maze or labyrinth is to have a fair shot at solving these problems. So we need to have a fresh mandate, and we need to have an unabated reign, a democratic reign for 5 years. First and foremost, that should be done. Second,
I honestly must interrupt you here, because 62% of our working population are daily waged. Are we going to tell these people out there that, you know, there's nothing else we can do, but we must have elections and then things will happen? But in the meantime, in the interim period, including the people in the area that your constituency is, their lives are challenged, their economic living is challenged. What do you say to them?
well, Faraz, one has to decide whether you enter government for power, position or privilege. Being anointed as a prime minister and being a member of the government, or whether one wants to solve the burning issues that the people are facing.
So what's your plan for that?
I want to be a problem solver. I don't want to complicate the situation. I don't want to exacerbate the situation.
But how will you solve?
Give me a moment. I need
Please,
to.
yes.
I
25
need
minutes.
I need some sort of support from you, at least by giving me a fair hearing.
Absolutely. Tell the people out there, what are your plans?
Right.
What will you do?
So, first and foremost, this government has messed up the macroeconomic and microeconomic picture of our country. So we need to bring a change both at the macro level and at the micro level. We need to go through restructuring. We need to emphasize on export-led development. We need to enhance the emphasis put on IT exports. Right now it's just $1 billion US. We need to enhance it to 5 billion. We need to use out-of-the-box methodologies to attract foreign direct investment. Most important of all, leaders of this country has to engage heads of state, presidents, prime ministers who can add value to our country. You need to have face-to-face talks, negotiations, exchange of ideas. Use one's charisma, personality to gain credibility with the people in the international arena. Please don't interrupt. To gain credibility, trustworthiness, show your integrity, show your honest intentions. Sri Lanka is no more a racist country. Sri Lanka is no more ethno-religious, biased, discriminatory oriented country. We are a country.
Sri Lanka is only those things when the Rajapaksas find it difficult to be in power.
That's exactly the reason why I am not the Prime Minister. So Faraz, just to explain to you, these kind of methodologies, this out-of-the-box approaches, approach the biggest or the richest billionaires, individuals, corporates, institutions, adopt the methods that Vietnam used to entice and induce Samsung to come into Vietnam. There are so many things that you can do. Give the diplomatic representatives abroad, the ambassadors who are abroad, a monthly target to achieve in terms of adding value to Sri Lanka. So there are so many things that one can do, but one cannot do this under a government which is a mishmash. That's what you have right now. What you have right now is ideological mishmash, and you're just trying to portray to the country that there is some sort of an all-party arrangement.
Yes.
What you have
is an unstable government.
No, what you have is an all-party arrangement that is sustaining the Rajapaksa presidency, that is supporting, helping, facilitating and creating a comfort zone for the Rajapaksa family. And Sajith Premadasa has no intention of doing that.
You know, I hear everything that you say about integrity and so on and so forth, but what do you say to tourism resort areas like in Negombo, for example? You know, it's a ghost town. People have been given no help from this government apart from a moratorium on loans. Those moratoriums expire at the end of this month. The banks are already knocking on their doors asking for money. They have no money to pay. Isn't that why we need to focus on selling this whole concept and getting it to happen, that we need a new mandate, a mandate where it be absolutely clear that the people have spoken.
Faraz, just a few days ago, I met representatives of the tourism sector. I met representatives from the SME sector, and I know their problems. I'm aware of their grievances, their expectations. This government is not sensitive to their grievances. This government have not given a hearing to their needs and wants. I'm fully aware of that. But we need to have some sort of structure, some sort of methodology for this system of governance. And I very sincerely and fervently believe that it's only a new mandate and a government with a new vision, a new roadmap, a new target-oriented timetable with effective monitoring and evaluation of one's own policies. That will be the clincher. That will be the clincher to save our motherland.
And is this why you didn't take on the role that was offered to you as Prime Minister?
Exactly. I was very hesitant, very mindful of the people's wishes and needs, expectations, declarations, proclamations. I felt that if I took on this mantle, that I would be a betrayer, that I would be betraying public opinion. For us, it's important in this day and age to have one's self-respect. You have to have your integrity intact. You have to be credible. You have to be trustworthy. Sri Lankans should know, during the 52-day crisis, well, before the 52-day crisis, 10 times I was offered the Prime Ministership. And during the crisis, 61 times. But
61?
I did. Yes, altogether a total of 71 times I was asked to be the Prime Minister. And I didn't accept.
And you refused to be part of this circus.
Exactly, because I don't have legitimacy to do so. Legitimacy is very important. It's a vital part of a functioning democracy. It is integral to that. And how can I, just for the sake of satisfying one's own personal political proclivities and one's own needs, one's own expectations. I can't do that. I have to ensure that my expectations are the country's expectations. My vision should not be a personal vision. It should be the vision for the 22 million people in our country.
But there is a growing voice out there that suggests at almost every turn that it is Sajith Premadasa who can deliver. And isn't it therefore incumbent on you to somehow make sure that this election is called? I mean, they had election, I'm repeating myself, within COVID. That didn't stop them.
Well, the word somehow we have to be very careful of, because this is a democracy. It shouldn't be somehow. It should be within the democratic sphere.
But we can't
within the democratic structure. So the easiest way right now would be for 113 members of parliament who supposedly love this country. I can assure you SJB and SJB Alliance consists of that bunch. But we need 113. We don't have 113. 113 can sign up to and dissolve parliament by our own volition, by giving our own consent. Why can't we do that?
And how are the talks going with people who are on the borderline, the floating voter, if you like, in Parliament, to join you
Well,
and to take this country forward?
I have concentrated most of my efforts on adding value to the country. As such, for your information and for the information of the viewers of this program, throughout, as a new political party which registered in February 2020 and faced up to the elections in August 2020, we have kind of distanced ourselves from the usual traditional way of politics, and we have commenced development programs such as HUSMA, helping 50 hospitals with 140.6 million rupees worth of life-saving equipment, commencing Sakvala to fast-track and speed up the information technology revolution in our country,
yes,
providing school buses to strengthen CWW Kannangara's free education concept. Do you know who has funded those projects? Our parliamentarians, our supporters, our donors.
Mr. Premadasa, please, let me say this. All that is actually, we hear it and we appreciate it. But honestly, your job, your real job is in Parliament. And that word comes out again somehow. You need to convince those guys who are on the borderline, the so-called floating guys. Maybe they're waiting for money, which you will not take any role in paying them. But what about this love for the country? What about the love to make sure that those people are fed more than 2 meals a day, as our current Prime Minister is now suggesting is just round the corner? And he didn't come, we didn't need him to come here to tell us that. There are people in Norelia who are actually only having 1 meal a day.
Without trying to insult your intelligence, nor cast aspersions on your character, even the preschool kid knows majority rules for us. Majoritarianism is what you have in a functioning government. When you don't have the majority, what do you want us to do?
Fight more.
Oh, we are fighting all right. We are fighting all right, but we are very, very careful and mindful that those who join our group, our coalition, are like-minded. They don't join just to engage ourselves in a political musical chess game. We want to unite due to a coherent ideology. They have to agree with our vision. They have to agree with the path that we have prescribed to solving the ills of our country. We will not come into coalitions based on political expediency.
Thank you. On that note, we'll go for a quick break and take a peek at this evening's headline news from that wonderful Newsfirst primetime news team. See you on the other side.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly. Russian plane leaves Sri Lanka. Will Sri Lanka receive diesel stocks? Will buses and school transport services halt operations? Court delivers judgment on Minister Prasanna Ranatunga. Murder in broad daylight. Who are these criminals? Is there an approaching election?
හැමදාම ගෑස් පෝලිං ඉවරනකල් මැතිවරණ තියන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න පුළුවන් ද?
උද්‍යාන පෙරමුණේ ලේකම්තුමා ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා එයාටත් මැතිවරණයක් තියන්න ඕනේ නේද?
ලබන අවුරුද්දේ මාර්තු මාසයේ ඇතුළත මැතිවරණය පැවැත්වීමට කටයුතු කරන බව කිව්වා.
Farmers of Kotiyagala attempt to resolve land disputes. Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. We are delighted to have as our guest today the leader of Sri Lanka's opposition, Mr. Sajith Premadasa of the SJB, of course. Mr. Premadasa, how do you deal with people in Parliament who voted for the 18, they voted for the 19, they voted for the 20, and now they're going to probably vote for the 21st again? And at each juncture, the people of this country, the sovereign people of our country, have been assured that these are the best thing going. You know, it's the next best thing after sliced bread. How do you deal with such people?
I don't deal with them.
That's it. Period.
That's it. Period.
This is all back to your business about not wanting political expediency.
Exactly.
So, Mr. Premadasa, honestly,
I don't want to associate myself with political nincompoops and political lunatics.
so by and large it's like a circus of clowns.
Not at all. There's the principal few, and we are there.
What about in your party? Do you have any nincompoops in your party?
You see, we are a principal party, and we have a group of members who have high integrity and respect for the wishes of the people.
A few bad apples?
Not at all. All
Every
those things will be decided at elections. We give primacy, we give priority to people's sovereignty, not the sovereignty of politicians.
And has your party got a written down document that will say, the minute we come in there, we're going to do A, B, and C, as well as everything else, to solve what is obviously a dollar crisis?
Let me assure you and the viewers that we have practical programs in place in all spheres, in all sectors, not just the economy. Education, health, agriculture, irrigation, the industrial sector, export
What about the
sector.
21st, though? Will you support the 21st?
Excuse me?
Would you support the 21st Amendment?
So we are the authors of the 21st Amendment.
But what about this business about the...
There's no other business.
No, the dual nationality. That's serious business.
Of course. So it's in our 21st Amendment.
Do you think you get
Do you
passed?
know, are you aware that 21st Amendment is authored, proposed and enhanced and seconded by none other than SJB and no one else?
Yes, but...
There is no other 21st
all right.
Faraz.
Yes,
You should know that.
Yes, but how well is it going?
Well, to be very honest...
No,
we have-
Mr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa's version.
Well, you see, we don't have several versions.
Yes, I know you
We
have
ha-
yours.
We have one version, and we will stand by that, and we will stick to it, and we will not diverge.
But then what about the one that's been presented to Parliament? That's Vijayadasa.
What is being presented?
Vijayadasa.
Have you seen a draft?
Not yet.
There's nothing concrete at all. Whereas,
But maybe it's in cabinet right now?
Whereas the 21st Amendment
Yeah.
has gone through the process, and now it's even in the Supreme Court.
Have you
And
seen
by-
Vijayadasa's one?
Excuse me?
Have you seen Mr. Vijayadasa's version?
I have just brushed through, but that's just for reading purposes.
So, are you confident? Where's your confidence?
For us,
Are you going to?
how can I support a particular amendment, which is the 21st Amendment, and then dilly-dally? That is not leadership. You put pen to paper and you sign up to a particular policy and you don't shift. That is principal politics that the country needs.
But
We don't practice wishy-washy politics.
I find it difficult to believe that, or to understand, how Basil Rajapaksa, who sometimes referred to as the principal puppeteer, how he's going to just stand aside and accept that his position in Parliament will be removed, along with that dual nationality business.
That is none of my business, and those are not my priorities. My priority are not people nor personalities. My priority is, one, this dual citizenship qualification, in the sense it should be a disqualification. The president's executive powers have to be reduced and the executive presidential system abolished. Bring in 19 as before and get rid of 20th, not 19 minus, if anything 19 or 19 plus. We have ensured that the National Security Council has status within the Constitution. We have also articulated a Council of State to allow the various pressure groups, organizations to be consulted in the process of governance. And if you jump ship, you cannot be in ministerial positions. All those are there in the 21st
Indeed,
Amendment.
but you've actually believed in that from several years before all of this happened, which is excellent. But do you think that Basil will be sort of the sacrificial lamb to save the presidency?
Can I be very honest?
Please.
I really don't give a damn.
The country, though.
Not at all.
They do.
I give a
They
damn.
want out.
I give a
The
damn.
people at Aragal,
Excuse
they
me,
want-
I give a damn about 22 million people. Basil Rajapaksa is not the focal point of Sri Lanka's national development agenda. I am there as the SJB and the leader of the SJB alliance to ensure that the Aragale objectives are achieved. What are the objectives? Gota go home. Mahinda Rajapaksa go home. Rajapaksa family go home. Executive presidency go home. 20th Amendment goes home.
But
19th Amendment comes back in, and democracy, freedom of speech prevails. Summary killings, summary executions, murder, mayhem.
5 today.
Exactly.
I mean,
That does not happen.
aggregate is 5.
That does not happen. We cannot tolerate that. That's not a sign of a functioning, sound democracy.
We have only a few minutes. Mr. Premadasa,
Well,
tell
that's
me
not
this.
my problem either.
No, that's true. It's one that Nadika will sort out. Now, listen. Can you answer this question? You know, if this the 21st Amendment is passed, the Vijaydasa's one, don't you think that
What is
Ranil
Vijaydasa's one?
Wickremesinghe will
What
take all
is-
the credit?
what is
What do you feel
Vijaydasa's
about that?
one?
What about if
Tell
the
me, what
21st
is Vijaydasa's one?
if the 21st Amendment is passed as
Faraz,
proposed by them?
please accept the fact that the government has no constitutional amendment because there's internecine political warfare, internal conflict. They cannot agree on a constitutional amendment. That's a fact of life. So please don't ask me
your
to
popularity,
speculate.
yes.
Please don't ask me to
Your
speculate.
popularity, such as it is, does this mean that you may consider a formal, romantic even, tie-up with the United National Party?
My tie-up is with the people. I have a social contract with the people, not with politicians. I have a social contract which is binding, which is irrevocable, which is permanent, and that is only with the 22 million people of my country.
Don't you hanker for the UNP label?
Never.
Even
Because
though
you know what UNP stands for? Uncle Nephew Party.
even though your father's from that party, and
Those were the good old days.
so we're
Now it's
moving.
Uncle Nephew Party.
And so we're now moving in a different trajectory.
It's for people to conclude about the future predicament of the Uncle Nephew Party.
Are you telling the people out there that tighten your belts, brace, 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 Sajith Premadasa will come in with his own mandate and then resolve?
Well, in a Sajith Premadasa tenure, it will be the politicians who will be tightening their belts. It will be the corrupt deals that will get eradicated. We will have just and fair government. We will ensure that corruption is completely destroyed. We will ensure that good governance, not just in its declaratory forms, but in actual practice, takes place. That is my mandate. That is my journey. That is my dream. And do understand Sajith Premadasa will make that dream a reality for all of the 22 million people of Sri Lanka, my motherland.
The children who don't have exercise books because there's a shortage of paper, what about that?
Well, it's a very sad state of affairs. That's why I say, Faraz, we are functioning as a unique opposition party. We are trying to help the health system. We are trying to help the education system. We are trying to provide schools with IT equipment, computers, smart boards, buses. We are trying to help the medical system and structure with medicines and vital medical equipment. We are doing our very best. And do keep in mind, these are the members of Parliament of SJB and SJB Alliance who are supporting and funding these programs.
Daniel, there's a viewer here who says, likens you to Lee Kuan Yew. So, you know, take it the way that is. But, Mr. Premadasa, you know, for all of this to happen, we need the dollars. You got a really super duper plan for that?
Well, I have a plan. I wouldn't want to say we have a plan.
We have a plan.
We have an excellent team. We have formulated out-of-the-box policies. And let me assure you, in government, we will make sure that export-led economic growth will promote prosperity of Sri Lanka.
Sajith Premadasa, leader of Sri Lanka's opposition, thank you very much for your time on Newsline Live.
It was a pleasure being with you.
Thank you. That's the way it was. It's now time for the primetime news from Newsfirst, the People's Channel. Take care, and as always, God bless you all.